to have all of my features on the computer like dark instead of light, so everything's like black screen. You know what I'm talking
Oh
about,
yeah.
Tom?
No, not me. I don't really care. So I I don't know. I think
Well,
black looks cool.
yeah.
And when you do like data visualization and for pizzazz, it's nice to have a black background, but white is better for posting, like copy and paste and putting on PowerPoints and stuff. So
I
they
don't know,
blend better.
Tom. Look at the way these names tags look here on the screen here. At Thomas Hall NFL, at Luke Patterson LP. Hot damn, it must be Wednesday night. Like a couple of bad pennies. We are back. Thank you for the brief absence and your delay in MHI and Broncos talk for just a week. But Tom and I are back. It's MHI every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Mountain. We appreciate you guys joining us here in the offseason where we are on the eve of Broncos OTAs. We've got big Broncos news reacting to Demaryius Thomas, the late great Demaryius Thomas, and his big honor. We're going to get into that in the Ring of Fame and more. But before we do, Thomas Hall, welcome back. How we doing?
Doing all right, man. Busy as heck, but hanging in there.
Hanging in there, ready for some Broncos football. Now, the Nuggets got squashed, playoffs. That's tough. The Avs got squashed. That's tough. I'm ready for the Broncos, and so is this town, so is this fan base. Nobody saw the type of season 2024 coming that actually happened. The Broncos actually winning football games, becoming a playoff contender, and having a quarterback that seems to be worth the squirt of you-know-what and the you-know-what. But, dude, it's just one of these things, man, where this is a football town. It's a football city. I get it. It's the end of May. We are on the cusp of OTAs. Training camp's right around the corner from there. It's just about action time here for the 2025 Broncos, man. I'm getting really, really excited.
Yeah, me too, because, well, one, they have the most returning starters or players. I can't remember what the metric was. So that bodes well. They didn't have a big turnover, so they've got a good team. They added some key pieces. The expectations for this Broncos team should be pretty high. If it's not, then something's wrong. I mean, they should be doing better this year if their health holds than they did last year. So there's reason to be excited. There's reason to have higher expectations, or actually high expectations of this team, in my opinion.
It's going to be super exciting because with the Sean Payton at the helm, when you have a quarterback, anything truly is possible with this Broncos squad. When you have a defense that did what they did last year, Sean Payton doubles down and gets himself another first-round corner. I can't wait to see Barron. How about that? Broncos Country wants to say what's up to their new first-round cornerback, Jahdae Barron, and see what this young man out of Texas has to offer on Vance Joseph's D. Let's see him lock up with some of Denver's best at the wide receiver position. We'll get into that and more, talking about potential breakout candidates. Tom's got some big news to share a little bit later in the show. Away we go with David Yonkin kicking things off. A very generous $4.99. I like to see Hufanga and Greenlaw have a breakout year. Of course, David is talking about our two new Broncos stud defenders that were lured away from the San Francisco 49ers. Now, both of these guys, Tom, as David and Broncos Country knows, they've got a bit of an injury history. But when they're on the field, they're absolute animals, potential game changers for Vance Joseph's D.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they were brought in for a reason. Both of them are difference makers, and they add to an already pretty darn good defense from last year. And they added the right pieces, right? I mean, safety was really something that was needed. They needed another impact player at safety. I think they got it with Hufanga. And then obviously the Broncos have kind of struggled with their linebacking core for a while, trying to find someone who can make those impact plays, cover a tight end. Greenlaw should step into that role. They shored up two weaknesses on a defense that didn't have too many to begin with. So hopefully they stay healthy and can play out the whole year, because then this defense is going to be pretty dang good if they can.
Well, and nothing's automatic in the NFL. You hope things go to the best that they can. You want both of these guys to be healthy, but the Broncos ultimately had to replace a high efficiency player in Cody Barton. I can't believe I'm saying it, but the guy was efficient, right? And he played well last year, so well that I believe the Titans locked him down to a fat contract. Now, I would never pay that man that kind of money, but you had to upgrade your linebacking course somewhere. I think with Drake Greenlaw, one of my favorite gets this year, man. He reminds me of Al Smoke Dog Wilson, the attitude that this guy has, the presence about him in the locker room. His teammates are going to love him. This guy's going to fly around the field, and you're going to know what your defensive identity is. Pat Surtain, reigning defensive player of the year. I love the mural up in downtown Denver. I love it, Pat, but you can't have attitude coming from the cornerback position. The D-line, Big Cat, Zach Allen. I absolutely love watching the man play. Jonathan Cooper, your guy, Nick Benito. Who doesn't love the pass rushing posse? But the attitude comes from the linebacker position. That's Dre Greenlaw, man, and I am super excited. I also can't wait to see Hufanga, man. Both these guys, they got to stay healthy, David. A little nervous about the health, but we shall see. And David on David crime, as we like to do it here on MHI Wednesday night. Oh, Papa Bear, how you doing, big dog? $2 over on YouTube. Good evening, Broncos Country. 13-4, calling his shot. Tom, I know you feel pretty good with the schedule release. What would you tell David about his 13-4 prediction for the 2025 Denver Broncos season?
Well, it's okay to have high expectations. Like I said earlier, Broncos Country should expect more than they saw last year. They should expect more wins. And when we were going through the schedule the last time we were here together
on this show, released on this show,
I ended up with 12 wins. And I mean, maybe I'm being a little overly optimistic. I thought 11 was definitely doable, but I came away with 12. So 13-4. 12-5. That's a really dang good season.
I couldn't believe it. I know they're trying to take fluoride out of the water, but when Tom is being that optimistic about the Broncos season, it truly tells you the expectations should be raised by the fan base. You see it nationally. I think the Broncos are getting a little bit of respect. Now, we could talk about those rankings. I know you see them just like I do. Quarterback rankings and who's this and who's that. Nobody gives a gee whiz about any of that, and it's all about to go out the window here in training camp. OTAs even. I mean, you got to stay healthy. We're talking about two new Denver Broncos coming in Hufanga and Greenlaw. Can they stay healthy? We got to have guys stay healthy through OTAs. All right, rookie minicamp that came and went. I'm here for it. Let's stay healthy. Let's stay up. Sean loves talking about it, right? Hey, we got to talk about the nutrition, the weight rooms, getting your rest, all these sorts of things. It's nice to see that the Broncos are being proactive in terms of their approach when it comes to health. And David Yonkin, again, man, thank you so much, David. You guys are absolutely rocking it. Remember, we have the best health and conditioning coaches in the league. 11-6 or 12-5, man. Double-digit wins, 12-5. That could be one of the best, if not the best record in the NFL at the end of the year. And I got to tell you, I really don't care about the records. I want them in the playoffs. That's about it. It would be a real shame to go 12-5 and get bounced and your very first playoff game. But that's the optimism. That's what we're talking about with guys like Greenlaw, guys like Hufanga. I know. First round corner, still scratching our heads just a little bit. But that old adage, defense wins championship, Tom, does that apply in 2025?
It's funny. I mean, the defense is going to be really good. I did this analytics study, and it actually isn't true. Defense isn't always a championship winner. Once in a while, when the offense is terrible and the defense is great, they win. But usually it's a balanced team that wins the Super Bowl, and that's what the Broncos are looking for. They're going to have a great defense, and they're going to have, hopefully, a solid offense with the running game and hopefully a little bit better production out of the wide receiver group. So if you can get a more balanced offense or a better offense to go with that really good defense, then you can make some noise. The defense would have to be, like a historic level to drag a poor offense to a championship. So hopefully that they're going to explore that or have that balance this year that they didn't really have last year.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they could complement each other, right? I think one thing is for sure about this Broncos squad. They are underdogs. And speaking of underdogs, guys, listen, Underdog is one of the best places to make picks during the basketball playoffs. While they score buckets, you could score cash on Underdog, a leading place to make all of your sports picks, and you can play now in your state. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Their app has over 100,000 five-star reviews and millions of players.
To play, choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats, like points, assists, and so much more. Playing on Underdog is a layup. Just download the app, then pick higher or lower on players' stats, like points, assists, rebounds, and more. Whether it's the NBA playoffs or Major League Baseball, Underdog has what you need to get in on the excitement and win money. You can play with as little as $1, and if you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. So turn $1 into 1,000 with just your sports knowledge.
Boom, guys. I have so much fun playing Underdog and winning money while watching sports. That's a slam dunk. Download the Underdog app, sign up now using the promo code MHuddle to unlock a special offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your very first deposit. Join in on the fun, and when you sign up with our promo code MHuddle, claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly upon very first deposit.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus Alabama, Nebraska, 19 plus Colorado for some games, 21 plus Massachusetts and Arizona, and President State where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply, void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Arizona 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text next-step to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Boom. He is Thomas Hall. I am Luke Patterson. You are watching MHI, where you can catch us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Mountain. We are talking Broncos on the eve of OTAs. We're also going to be reacting to the late, great Demaryius Thomas and the news of him being inducted into the Broncos Ring of Fame. What does it have to do with Mile High Huddle? Well, we're going to let you guys know in just a little bit. But before we do, I saw a friend in the chat here I wanted to get to, our guy Phil McLaughlin. What's up, Phil, over on Facebook? Thank you so much for all the Facebook stars and your generous support. It means a lot. Good evening, Thomas, Luke, and Deacon Scott. Congrats on your launch, Tom. Wishing you good luck. Tom, you've been working on something for many moons, a labor of love. You've kept it under tight wraps. You've explored a lot of different avenues, decided today was the day to launch a very special project. Tell us what you've been up to.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much, Phil. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've been working on a stats business, play-by-play stats. I have launched that business, which has been a labor of love, and it's not perfect yet, but it's going to evolve. Basically, we are logging stats in a specific way so that pretty much every NFL metric can be calculated, anything you want, plus exclusive data, and it's called Gridiron Intelligence. So just go to the site and look for this, and you will get, well, you can't see it now, but go to the site, Stats and Analytics. You can look at what we have for sample data, but it's pretty cool, pretty fun, and I'm looking forward to like officially hiring the team to build the stats for 2024 and 2025.
Well, very unique as well, I might add. I think a lot of times football fans, whether they feel like they're experts or they're novices or they're just a casual fan, sometimes information can be overwhelming, especially the way information is presented. And this takes a lot of that completely out of the equation. You come in, it's transparent information. You're going to get the actual context in the stats that you're looking at. They're actual events that are happening on the field. These aren't scenario-based things, right? No PFF pie in the sky, none of that. Head on over to gridironintelligence.com. Check it out. Phil, appreciate you so much, man. I wanted to get to our guy in here too. Hang on with me. We were talking about Memorial Day. Ralph Bracegirdle. Happy Memorial Day and belated Memorial Day to anyone and everyone out there. Luke and Tom, God bless our fallen soldiers. Hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. 100 days until football. Yeah, Memorial Day, man. That's always a cool weekend to remember the privileges that we have as men, women in this country, the freedom that we have to have these platforms and these fun conversations. Tom, what's Memorial Day look like for you? I see all kinds of food in here. We grill a little bit on Memorial Day around here, man. Yeah. So it was fun to have a good Memorial Day weekend, grill some chicken wings and have some fun with the fam.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a lot of different things. Usually we don't usually have a set thing. In fact, last on this Memorial Day, I was out clearing brush to start working on a treehouse. So nice. It just depends on what's happening. But I do love barbecuing, and I do love to kind of remember fallen soldiers and the veterans that serve. So all of that is great, but sometimes I just got to do some work around the house.
Hey, that's freedom, right? And you're taking care of your land, so to speak, man. You're building, and that's important. And without those sacrifices, none of us could build or even build a life for ourselves. So I appreciate you guys bringing that up, man. Where would we be if we didn't express some of our humility? Chase Wellner coming in, man. What's up, Chase? Appreciate you joining the show as always. Tom getting all kinds of love. Roy Osborne showing some support over on Facebook. Man, Tom, he's one of those smart guys out there. Head on out there and take a look. gridironintelligence.com. Something we're going to be using, I think, this season on the show. Tom, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to be using your tools and using your hard work for my benefit on these airwaves. And I'm really excited to do it, man. Expectations are high for the Denver Broncos. You said it earlier, man. Chad wrote a really interesting article talking about 3 potential Broncos that could have a breakout season. And Marvin Mims, okay, I'm there. Not necessarily a secret, right? That diamond in the rough. Well, the diamond got polished a little bit. Teams are going to be preparing for Marvin Mims. Tom, talk to me a little bit about Broncos rookie second-round pick, R.J. Harvey. I see the size of this man's quads. I think Nick was calling him Quadzilla last night, or Eric was, or Carl was, somebody. I get a little worried when I see man with the size of those quads because it reminds me of Nick Chubb, and it reminds me of all the squatting and all the absolute craziness of weight that man puts on the bar. Is this going to be an injury-prone running back? I know he's short. I know he's stout. But these are concerns that I've got with this young rookie second-round pick. Should I have these concerns, or is he young and ripping ready to go?
Well, you never know. That's the problem with rookies. You don't know if they're going to end up getting hurt and they end up being a bust. I think a lot of muscle around the knees is helps protect for those knee injuries, hopefully. But you never know. I look for him to be the starter. I don't even look for him to be a breakout candidate because I'm expecting him to already become the starter, to produce on the field, and that's my expectation. So I'm not checking the box as a breakout candidate. I'm saying there's higher expectations for RJ Harvey than other second round picks should be, mostly because there's no other option. There's no other option in the backfield. He's going to be the guy right out of the gate. And if he isn't, that's a huge disappointment.
Yeah, man, there's some little guys in that Broncos backfield. All right. There's some little guys, and I'm a little worried. I just Jaleel McLaughlin, RJ Harvey, I get it. Javonte Williams isn't here anymore. Everybody can't wait to see Tyler Bidet. And then there's that forgotten guy, Audric Estime. And I can't figure Audric Estime out, Tom. I don't know if he got in the doghouse. I don't know if Sean just forgot to play him. Hell, Sean didn't even activate him in Buffalo. We talk about it all the time. I just don't know what the plan is at the running back position. I think you're right. It's got to be this kid, RJ Harvey, all 5'8", 205 pounds of him. Man, that's a little nerve-wracking for me. Can the guy see over the offensive line? That's not a joke. That's you've got to protect the Broncos' first-round rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. How's your pass protection? I know he wasn't brought here to be a blocker, but for crying out loud, these are things that we're going to see very soon in training camp from a very nasty and talented defense. And I'm talking even the backups, these substitutions, these depth players on Vance Joseph's second squad. They're going to come in here and they're going to push a young starter like an RJ Harvey. I think it's going to be sink or swim real quick in Sean Payton's training camp.
Yeah, well, if it's not RJ Harvey, somebody else has to step up, and I don't know who that would be.
Audric Estime. It'd be Audric Estime.
It would have to be, because
way
you
could, right?
Yeah, you can't run him between the tackles, play in and play out. Blake Watson's intriguing, but more as one of those kind of gadget players. I think he's a little bit thicker than McLaughlin, but still fairly small. I don't think RJ Harvey is small. He's very thick. He's short. So, I mean, I don't worry about him carrying the load so much because I think he's got the mass to do it. And I think he can potentially hide between the behind some of the offensive linemen and slip off a big run here and there. So I'm not too worried about RJ Harvey as size. I'm worried. I want to see him start performing right before I'm going to be satisfied with how the running game has turned out, because like I said, he's the guy. Everybody else is, they've got a lot to prove going into the season, even though we've already seen them play.
You're exactly right, Tom. And I mean, what was it, just yesterday or something? I think I was reading ESPN listing Broncos second round rookie pick RJ Harvey as a name to know for the 2025 season. I don't know. Everybody mark that name down for your fantasy football draft, right? I mean, it's just so hard to tell. I'll say this. The guy has intelligence. He is able to pick up the playbook. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here. We have to know that Sean demands ridiculousness out of his players, and the playbook is just one fashion. Jason weighing in. Appreciate you, Jason. Listen, guys, RJ Harvey isn't little. He's just short. At 5'8", 205, he is put together. Yeah, man, he's like a little mini fridge. How about that? I know I just said little. Mini. How about mini? He's a mini fridge. What's the nickname going to be? I mean, he's got to have something. And Quadzilla, yeah, that's not – we've all used that one. But, I mean, we got to find something. It's got to be organic, coming out of training camp. And man, I don't know. You got me excited, Tom, RJ Harvey, but talk about a young Broncos offense with a second-year quarterback, a first-year starting running back, your wide receiver core, old man Rivers, Cortland Sutton. He's not old, right? Turns to the NFL, he's certainly a vet. I don't know, Tom. I mean, is it an upgrade to last year? Hard to say. That's all up to Sean Payton and whether he decides he's going to run the football. It would be all for naught if Sean Payton brings this man from UCF here, touts him as the best thing since sliced bread, and then doesn't let him run the football. This is all up to Sean Payton. The success of RJ Harvey is really on Sean Payton.
Yeah. And if he's performing and he's able to carry the load and he's able to get yards, then definitely it's on Sean Payton for not playing him, not giving him the ball. You can write it on your playlist all you want, but if you're not going to read that top of the playlist and run the ball, then it's definitely on you. But if he struggles, I can understand it, trying to figure out who can get some yards on the ground, but you can't put the game into Bo Nix's hand every single time. Now, you've got to have a balanced offense. You've got to have a good running game if this team is going to go farther than it did last year. And it exceeded expectations, or at least mine. But this year, if you want to go deeper into the playoffs, you better have a better running game, and your defense has to be as good as advertised.
I'm excited to see it too, because it's something different, and I think it's the start of something new. And if we were so excited and thrilled with the way the Broncos 2024 rookie class performed, shouldn't those expectations carry over to the very next rookie class in 2025? I'm not saying you're going to get everything's rainbows and unicorns and sprinkles for everybody, but from the fan base, you're thinking, all right, maybe a youth movement isn't so bad. I mean, for so long, franchises have to wither away and waste away doing this half and half of the old guard, half and half of the new guard, and trying to blend them with contracts. And that's the trick to this NFL and this professional sports business. But man, there's a youth movement going on here in Denver, Colorado. And some of the youth has some age, right? When you look at a Bo Nix, I mean, he's certainly not a young pup. He's not an old man either, second-year player coming into the league. But I don't know, with the transfer portals and everything else, it's just you're seeing players come out, and they're a little bit more NFL ready.
Yeah, and Bo Nix obviously was one of those, because he came in, struggled the first few games, but caught his stride and, was able to hit the ground running. I expect other players to do similar things. I mean, you look at Devon Vele from last year, late round pick, but he had a lot of experience, was able to step into the role. Hopefully you can see that happen with a couple of these other rookies, particularly Harvey, but also Bryant, the wide receiver. Hopefully he can step in and make some noise right away as well.
Tom, yesterday was really, really happy to see this come across the wire. There are the good emails you open up and then the bad emails you open up. This was one of the good ones, right? A press release. The Denver Broncos former wide receiver Demaryius Thomas was elected to the Denver Broncos Ring of Fame. The franchise announced just 24 hours ago, so to speak, man. That's pretty touching. And you see the fan base and how much DT meant to this fan base. Pretty cool to see that the new Broncos ownership and the Walton Penner ownership group put significance, put love, put passion, put consideration into players that were Broncos, because wasn't necessarily their player, right? But if you're a Bronco, you're a Bronco. That's the way Pat Bowlen was. That's the way I think the Walton Penner ownership group is. And to see this honor be bestowed on the late, great Demaryius Thomas, number 88, man, pretty cool. Pretty cool for a fan base.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's deserving of it. I mean, you've got a few wide receivers that are already on the Ring of Fame: Rod Smith, Haven Moses, Lionel Taylor, and DT. So he ranks second in just about every receiving category for the Broncos. It makes sense to have him in that Ring of Fame, along with the other greats that came through Denver. There's a few others I'd like to have on there as well. I don't know if they're going to announce any others or if it's just DT, which is good. I don't mind that, because it should be his, kind of ceremony, since he, passed away too early and everything.
And that's it. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think because they're so classy, Tom, you're right. They're going to give DT his day, and that day will be on Sunday, October 19th against the New York Giants. And then maybe perhaps you see other Ring of Famers at later dates.
Yeah. It, probably won't happen until the following year. There's a few others that, need to be up there as well. But I mean, Demaryius Thomas, there were so many highlights when he was with the Broncos. There's just, and even in the low times, right? Even in the low, Super Bowl 48 was an actual ridiculous low time for me because I was there. But he was the lone bright spot. He still
set a record
for 13 receptions in the Super Bowl. Still holds a record. That amazing catch and run for the touchdown with Tim Tebow at the helm. I mean,
didn't he in that Super Bowl? Didn't he have a busted wing too? Didn't he have like a shoulder injury?
He hurt his collarbone or something. Yeah.
He separated his shoulder and had it put back in, and played in the most meaningless game ever. And pretty dang cool. And what's cool about the Broncos inducting him into the Ring of Fame, it will be Sunday, October 19th. That's alumni weekend. And that'll be the same Ring of Fame induction date as the 10-year anniversary of Super Bowl 50. In addition to the MHH meet and greet, Tom, Scott, fellas, it's that time
That's
of year.
That's officially announced?
It's gonna be there, man. I saw Chad's tweet. Chad tweeted it out about a day ago, and at Chad Jensen, everybody, you hold this man accountable, because I know he was talking about on his pod as well.
All right.
He said we chose the right week for the 2025 Mile High Huddle meet and greet, retweeting the Denver Broncos announcement for the Ring of Fame. So we're super excited. Phil, thank you so much for being patient and hanging in there. More love and support. Speaking of DT and all his love, Broncos Country is showing their love every Wednesday night on these airwaves. Guys, what three position groups could be the best in the NFL this season? What's he got? Safety, D-line, O-line.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good. Safety, if the health sticks around, but I would actually include the entire secondary in that. If Barron is as good as we think he's going to be, they're going to have depth and a solid three cornerbacks to jump in there with those two safeties that could start if Barron is the starter. So I would say you've got a great list here, but I would include the entire secondary in that at number one. And then you got your D line. I still feel like they need a little bit more beef in the middle. But I think that's up to my breakout player, Wazirike. I think if he can make that big leap and step in there and provide that kind of bigger beef in the middle, so to speak, you might be onto something there. And O-line was one of the tops last year. So I'm with you. But I think secondary in general should be the best in the league.
Your guy Wuzurike needs to stay off FanDuel and try to make this team, because nothing is guaranteed this summer for this man. It's put up or shut up. And you're right, Tom. The D-line can certainly improve. I don't know if it's maybe there's a diamond in the rough out there somewhere and you find him in camp a little bit. But I'm disappointed because we're talking about three positions that could be really strengths for this team and among the best in the league. And there are position groups up there that aren't named that are so damn important to me, including running back, linebacker, tight end, wide receiver, things like that. When it's all said and done, the Broncos have talent, and that's something that they haven't had in a while. What kind of talent do they have? Everybody's quick to just crown this Jahdae Barron the greatest thing ever because you've got the reigning defensive player of the year in Pat Surtain. I'm almost to the point where I'm afraid to see Jahdae Barron because what kind of expectations are we giving this guy? Oh, is he going to be the next Pat Surtain? Well, what if he's not? Because last I checked, there's only one of them, and lightning doesn't strike twice, folks. I'm having a really hard time, and it's not necessarily on Jahdae Barron, but I think that the Broncos coaching staff, maybe they're putting this defense in a really crazy pressured filled situation with a rookie first round corner from Texas. I know that sounds odd. I know it sounds strange. Maybe this sounds strange to you because I'm the guy questioning the move still a little bit. I support him. I'm excited. I want him to do well, but I'm still questioning the position, still questioning the pick. Maybe you're right, Tom. Maybe Broncos Country's got it figured out, and this guy's going to come out here and be so complimentary to PS2 that this defense just becomes the best in the NFL. And then you can go a little bit further. You can beat those Chiefs. Hell, maybe that's the recipe, Tom, to be getting back on the AFC West, the very top of the mountain again. Maybe you need two premier corners. That's Pat Mahomes' kryptonite.
Well, I wouldn't worry too much out of the gate because Riley Moss, solid player, but I think Barron might be pushing McMillan for his spot right away. So if he can be better than McMillan, then that's a pretty solid rookie season. And if he's not,
McMillan was played two completely different positions, but last I checked, I mean, he pretty decent in his for an undrafted guy, right?
Absolutely. He's much better than what expectations would suggest. But so in that regard, if he's kind of coming in off of the bench, you still got three solid cornerbacks with even more experience. Two of them to go along with the reigning defensive player of the year. So I wouldn't worry too much about Barron and the pressure that gets put on him because I still think they'll be solid. But if he is as expected, then that's going to be a really, really tough secondary to throw against.
Feels too good to be true, Tom. That's what I like to say. I'm not superstitious. I'm kind of stitious. And what have the Broncos done to deserve two franchise cornerbacks? I don't know, man. I don't know. That's why the whole thing has me up at night. George Fox. What's up, George? Appreciate all the support over on Facebook. Means a lot, man. Do you think we play two tight ends on passing downs? It might help against the pass rush. Absolutely. You know why? Because you have an improved tight end room, George. And George heard me when I was just complaining about the tight ends and why the Broncos need to change what is a lackluster conversation into something that should help Bo Nix elevate his game to the next level. Enter one, of course, Evan Ingram, the star offensive signing of the offseason. Hell, the star signing. I know I'm excited about Dre Greenlaw, but there are those who will say, come on, man, he's a busted, hurt linebacker. See it for what it is. And there's a place for that argument as well. Evan Ingram, the expectations are extremely high. I was very pleased with the deal. I didn't think the Broncos had to back up the Brinks truck. But when you talk about two tight ends, George, you got my mind working. It's got my mind working. It doesn't happen too much, but my mind is working. And one thing I'm thinking about just a little bit, remember that last pick on day 3, pick 241? Caleb Lohner out of Utah, former basketball guy, right? He's huge, like almost 6'8", something like that. I mean, the guy is a string bean. Maybe they want to see what he can do. I know this fan base is in love with Lucas Kroll. I just don't see it. Sean Payton, he's a sucker for his old New Orleans guys, but every once in a while, that's going to get old. I don't know what Adam Troutman's Shelf life is for the 2025 season. You can't have an Adam Troutman and Nate Atkins every single year together, or a Michael Burton rather. I don't know, man. What do you say, Tom? What do you think about the Broncos tight end room? George is ready for an improvement, and so am I.
Yeah, I mean it's better with Ingram. I still am, going to wait and see on the rest of the group. But George, to answer your question here, I think what would help the most is to possibly have two tight ends on the early downs, and hopefully make that third down distance a little bit shorter. That's going to help the pass rush tremendously. But last year the running game didn't really provide that, so you were facing too many longer distances, in my opinion. So I'm not particularly happy with the tight end room other than Ingram. I don't think he's going to be as good as everybody's projecting. He's going to be a solid tight end, but he's not going to put up, obviously I can be wrong, but I don't expect him to put up 100 catches and 1,000 yards, but he's definitely going to provide a passing threat at the tight end position that has not existed for the Broncos last couple of years.
I disagree completely. He had damn well better work his ass off, because for the entire offseason, Scott and I had to hear about the Joker, and hey, this is it. The draft is over, so we clearly know who the Joker was for Sean Payton. And I know he still alludes that it might be RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey's 5'8". All right. He's not a Joker. He's going to be lucky to be the starting running back of this team as a rookie. Let's see it for what it is. The expectations for Evan Ingram should be there. I mean, seriously, Sean likes the tote, like he knows he's reinventing the wheel, and I'm a Sean Payton guy, but I am so sick of hearing about this position. I am so sick of Sean being able to just get away with the retread New Orleans Saints players, and that includes wide receivers. A little Jordan Humphrey, I don't need that. Adam Troutman, I don't need that. Lucas Kroll, see previous statement. I mean, it's time. And Sean needs to be willing to move on from some of that. I don't know if it's only going to take the draft. I don't know if Sean's already down there, got a scout down there in New Orleans, just waiting for the Saints to cut a guy. I mean, I just don't get it. But sooner or later, Sean has to get out. He's no longer a Saint. You're a Bronco. You're not a rookie coach here in Denver. This coming on year 3. It's time to get going. And things have gotten better with Sean Payton. But yeah, the expectations for Sean are there. You assembled this team. Let's make no mistake about this. At the end of the year, and if this was a bad season, are people going to be saying, oh, that George Payton, if only Sean wasn't handcuffed to George? Not at all. I don't care how many Nuggets playoff games they go together. The expectation is here. It's time to win. It's time to win now, and it has to be with this offense.
Absolutely. And it starts with the running game, because that was the biggest weakness last year on the team. The running game in general, I think that no dynamic, like super dynamic wide receiver hurt them. I mean, at least Mims started to catch on a little bit later. Hopefully he takes that next step, but it's definitely the running game, and that has to improve. And I think it will. I love Javonte Williams. I loved how he played before his injury. He just was not the same player. He just wasn't. And I think that hurt the team. But there was nobody else behind him that could take many reps and do much better. So they were kind of stuck with a lackluster running game. Now, running backs can typically step in as a rookie and make some noise. There's high expectations on Harvey. It's up to him to go out there and perform. We don't know if he can yet. We're expecting him to, but there's no reason why he can't. It's not one of those positions like D-line where you've got to be in the league for a couple of years really to kind of get acclimated. They can come out and they can play. So that's what we're going to expect from Harvey, is to come out and juice up that running game and make it respectable, at least.
Completely agree with you. It comes down to 3 things on why the Broncos didn't have a successful run game. 1, they didn't have a starting caliber running back. You just alluded to that. I worry for Javonte Williams, Tom, especially playing with turf, especially playing down there in Dallas. I don't know how those knees are going to hold up. I wish him well, right, as all of Broncos country does. Then for me, I'm still going to be on the soapbox until we get an upgrade or until someone tells me it's not a problem. The center position, hard to run the ball when your center's getting blown off the ball 9 out of 10 times. I don't care who it is, whether it's Luke Wattenberg or Alex Forsythe. That is an issue. Nobody talks about it. It comes up every single game. I don't know if the guards, Quinn Miners and Ben Powers, are going to supplement that or what. Last but not least, Sean Payton. is the reason the Denver Broncos didn't have a running game. I think NFL teams have been able to run the football with a lot less than the Broncos had in that running back stable. Sean couldn't get out of his own way. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I think Sean was so hell-bent on Bo Nix winning Offensive Rookie of the Year so he could wave his finger at everybody. I told you so. I told you so. And it got in his way. I think Sean is vindictive. I think he does have an ego. I think that's also why he's successful. It's okay to have some of those things, but Sean's ego got in the way. That's why the running game didn't work. And I know he loves Bo. We all know he loves Bo Nix at this point, and I hope Bo feels the same way. But you don't need to prove it to us every single game, Coach. We know Bo can throw it. He's got an arm. He's got the brains. He's got the decision-making. How long can he do it? How well can he do it? Those are the questions that remain to be answered. But it's exciting, right? It's exciting to be talking about these possibilities, man. No more quarterback competition.
Yep.
Unless you want to talk about the backup. I've got some friends that have covered the Buffs and some friends that cover the Browns, and it's funny because they're doing the quarterback competition thing, and I get to scoff at them from my glass house, right? And like we weren't doing that long here in Denver. Teddy versus Drew, everybody, like good Lord, remember those hot summer agonizing days we were out there at camp? Not anymore. We're not doing that, but it is interesting. I don't know if you've been watching Shedeur Sanders, some of the cut ups there. Dylan Gabriel, some of the cut ups there. What do you think is going to happen for Cleveland, man? Is Shedeur Sanders going to be the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns?
He very well could be, because there's not a whole lot of competition from my eyes. I mean, you got old Flacco, you got another rookie. You just don't have. You got Pickett. I mean, he could take that role, or he could be the fourth quarterback. Who knows?
I forget about Kenny Pickett,
better than
Tom.
People give him credit for. I think he's a better quarterback than his draft position. So he's definitely somebody who can step up there. I just don't want to see. I'm glad I don't have to see the stats being posted like they were out of the Cleveland Browns OTAs. That's just there's no way to take those stats and make anything of it, because the problem is one player could be throwing deep outs, practicing getting better, and the other one could be taking the easy path and look way better on stats. It's meaningless to be posting those stats in training camp or OTAs or anything like that. But I mean, I guess some people might find it interesting, but I don't.
Well, that's all they got. All right. That's what they got there in the dog pound. Let them have it. In other news, I don't know if you saw what the Bengals owner, Mr. Mike Brown, falling asleep at practice today or at OTAs today. They caught a nice taking a nap, was good. And then I had to check my social media and make sure I didn't miss anything, because I wake up and I'm working, doing some things around the house today. And then I see all this hate coming with Aaron Rodgers. And one, that didn't surprise me because he's usually associated with some sort of drama and you either love or you hate the guy. But two, I had to check to make sure he wasn't signed by a football team, because there is so much out there about the Aaron Rodgers not reporting to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why the hell would he? He's not signed by the Steelers last I checked. Tom, I guess one question, the only question I got for you, does Aaron Rodgers play football in 2025?
I think so, yeah. Only because someone's going to get hurt and they're going to need somebody to step in and they're going to give him a call. I don't know if he's going to be in anyone's training camp. Maybe at the end, maybe if someone goes down in training camp towards the end, he gets signed. Maybe early in the season, I think he'll be playing because he wants to. And, quarterback position it's a needy position if someone goes down. There's very few good backups that can step in. And so they'll be giving him a call most likely. But I don't know. It seems like it's a little late in the game to be bringing him in by camp at this point, but you never know. It could still be the Steelers.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph. I mean, they know what they're getting in Mason Rudolph there at Pittsburgh. I don't know, man. It's odd. If you ask me, I feel like Mike Tomlin and the Steelers every year, they almost get a little further apart with each other. I don't know if things are stale there for both franchise and coach. Maybe it's time for a split in the next couple seasons. I don't know, man. It's weird what they're doing there in Pittsburgh. What's going on with the Giants? It was, I know Brian Daboll said that Russ was going to be the starter heading into the offseason or something like that. You got Jameis Winston, you got Jackson Dart. What do you hear is going on there in good old New York?
I haven't heard anything. I think it's a quarterback mess.
Not bad, huh?
I think Wilson will play good enough to get the starting role, and then he'll get spooked again by the third game and start running around crazy, and their team's going to go in the tank.
Yeah, so odd, like the way some of these quarterback situations. I mean, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, Shedeur Sanders, Russell Wilson. Thank God there's not a controversy here with the Denver Broncos when it comes to quarterback. The biggest controversy here, right, is who's going to be battling for fourth because you've got Bo Nix, Jarrett Stidham, and then Sam Ehlinger. I don't know if you have a practice squad guy yet. Maybe that is going to be Sam Ehlinger. I can't imagine them wanting to carry 3 all the time. But man, what a relief to not have that going on. I think I did see today, speaking of social media, is it Garrett Bowles' birthday today? Happy birthday to Garrett Bowles. I think I saw that out there.
Yeah, today or yesterday, I think. Yeah.
Something like that. Maybe
he's like 45 now, isn't he? I mean,
yeah, I was going to say if it was today or yesterday, don't worry. He forgot about it as well. Yeah, he came into the league old, right? He was like Bo, like young 26-year-old rookie or something like that.
The only controversy we have for quarterbacks, really, Luke, are the pundits around the league not giving him his due already. That's what what everybody's arguing about when it comes to the Broncos quarterback is Bo Nix ranked too low?
Yes, and he is actually.
That's actually good feeling for me because we don't have to worry about posting stats on OTAs to see which quarterback might be winning the competition. But let's face it, the Bo Nix still isn't getting very much respect, and I hope that doesn't irk Sean Payton. Like you said, I hope it doesn't, because his next step is to win a playoff game here, not try and make Bo Nix, prove everybody right. So hopefully Bo Nix doesn't have a sophomore slump, and I don't think he will. Comes out, plays better, proves everybody wrong on his own, and Sean Payton focuses more on making sure that running game is there to help him out so they can actually win some games in January.
Yeah, one other thing, and I know people are going to think I'm making excuses for him, but I was truly impressed. We could all tell there was something wrong with Bo. What do I mean by that? He wasn't stepping into his throws the way he normally was. It felt very frustrating. At least I remember you and I having these conversations. Like, it just doesn't feel like he's got his footing underneath him, right? Like, what the hell's going on with that? You know why? He had a fractured set of vertebrae in his freaking back, dude. Like, man, he got twisted up a little bit there and had some vertebrae fractures, if you will. That's the game. That's part of it. Talk about Pat Mahomes and his toughness and all the injuries that he plays through and he battles with. I think Bo Nix has a really good chance to prove more people wrong this year. I don't think he embraces that role. That's not his mission. If it happens, great. But he wants this football team to win. And I think that's where Sean is too. At least I'm hoping that's where Sean is. I can't believe I'm saying this. I hope Sean Payton matures in 2025. I feel like Bo Nix is a little bit more mature as a second-year QB heading into Sean's system than Sean is, because I think Sean is just so smitten. I think he's so head over heels in love with Bo Nix and the quarterback that he envisions him to be. He doesn't see Bo the quarterback he loves today in the flesh. He's looking at Bo like, man, when that confetti rains down, that's when we know. And that's exciting, man. That gets me ready to go. That gets me wanting to get the Bo Nix jerseys out in the city. And it's that time, folks. I mean, that's going to be cool, man. It's about jersey wearing time here in the NFL. And that's another cool thing. I know we've done it at training camps before. It's fun to see old jerseys or to pick out jerseys you don't normally see. I know every year I talk about it. I love seeing the John Elway Stanford jerseys out there. There was a time when Russ was here in Denver and my good buddy Jake came out and he's like, I got to have Russ sign this Colorado Rockies stuff. I'm like, Colorado Rockies? What? But yeah, there's some weird jerseys that you see out there at camp, man. And I'm ready to see more 10s. I'm ready to see more Broncos jerseys out and about.
Yeah, and I didn't see it at training camp, but I saw it at a game, which was interesting. I walked up to number 77 expecting Carl Mecklenburg and turned around and it was Alzado. So that's one I had. Yeah, that's one I wasn't expecting. So yeah, I like seeing those jerseys. The old ones, the ones where somebody remembers the old days, because that's getting few and far between anymore.
No, you're man. Lyle, 6 Mile Lyle instead of the Vanilla Gorilla, huh? Man, that would have. Did you say something? Were you?
Oh yeah, I
nice.
talked to him. I didn't say anything about like why you wearing that.
You didn't.
But
You didn't verbally assault. You didn't verbally assault him and challenge his manhood right there in front of everybody.
Great player for the Broncos. What are you talking about? He was a great player. I respect his time with the Broncos. He became a Raider, which sucks. But
Lyle Alzado over here, Carl Mecklenburg over here. I'll be sure to mention it to Big Cat when that time comes.
I never said he was better than Carl Mecklenburg. I just gave him respect that he would have that jersey on.
Would rather wear Lyle's 77. You heard it here on MA Side. What's up, Todd? Todd's got my back. Tom, he's saying, look, Bo Nix was better than Drake May, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, and somehow he's ranked lower than all of them. That's what we're seeing. That's what the outrage is, Tom. When we get down to it, without me pulling one of the lists up, Todd is exactly right. It's the rest of his rookie class and then Bryce Young, right? That it's like, huh? Where do you figure that? And I think that's where some of the preference comes in, right? That's where some of the opinion comes in just a little bit, because no way am I taking Drake May, Caleb Williams, or Bryce Young over one Bo Chapman Nix.
No. Well, and that's the problem, is it's their opinion. They have already, knows if they were like down on him in the draft and thought he was drafted too high, and that's actually making his his evaluations now a little skewed. That's why you need to look at the numbers. You got to look at the real numbers to say, okay, what did he do? Was his real passing distance, yardage distance better than Caleb Williams or whatever? I mean, you need to look at something besides your opinion, because that can be skewed. And it's obviously skewed with Bo Nix. A lot of these pundits are skewing him the wrong way. They're looking at him as the 19th best quarterback when he was better than that last year. So they're expecting him to get worse than better. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. Just stop letting your opinion be skewed by past events that are no longer relevant, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, that's just it, man. Like, if Bo Nix painted his nails, I'm sure he'd be higher on the list. And New England needs to worry about their new star wide receiver passing out funky stuff on yachts. All right. That's what New England needs to worry about. I saw all their wideouts dropping balls today over on social media. Craziness. Speaking of dropping love, though, Chad Jensen, $20 media availability tomorrow. Broncos Country. You will hear from not only some of the coaches, you're gonna get some players up there spitting into these microphones. We're going to see what they have to say. I would be shocked if your first round rookie corner, Jahdae Barron, wasn't one of those players. Maybe RJ Harvey, Bo Nix. It's interesting the way they schedule these things. You don't know who you're going to get on the first day, but you could start figuring out how many guys, which coaches. Chad, really, really appreciate the support, man. Means a lot. It's here. OTAs are here. That's what gets me excited. People are going to be slicing up sound bites. I know Scott does it, right? Of the fellas talking tomorrow. What do you think Sean Payton is looking for on the very first day of OTAs? Does Sean Payton have a checklist? And if so, what's on it?
I hope it's installing the offense already. I hope, getting them acclimated to what this offense is going to look like in 2025. That's what I'm hoping for. And I don't expect them to be running a bunch of plays or anything like that, but just here's what it's going to be. This is going to be our philosophy. We're going to implement it in training camp, and then you're going to run it to perfection during game day.
I love it. I agree with you, and I would add a wrinkle into that. I think Sean Payton's going to be testing guys. What have you guys been up to? You guys know your playbooks? You guys been keeping up with the diet? You've been keeping up with your workouts? How healthy is everybody? How hydrated is everybody? Who wants to be here? Because the answer should be everyone in that building. This is where you could start building that dream a little bit. You're actually getting most of the guys. I'm not going to say all the guys, right? Because it's OTAs, some things are voluntary, other things aren't, blah, 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 blah. You're getting all these guys into the room, onto the field for the most part, for the very first few times since the offseason. This is special. This is where you could start laying your identity a little bit brick by brick, and it starts here. It's got to be authentic, and it's got to be real. Sean's not going to come in there with a bunch of slogans on sweatshirts passing them out. He's going to have to truly identify what he wants this team to be, how he wants them to get there, and who he's going to place in leadership roles to get them there. Let's start talking captains. That's what it's got to be, right? You look at some of the captains from last year. Yeah, Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton, they're on the offense, sure. Pat Surtain on the defense. Who else you like on the defense, Tom, is a
Dre
big leader? Dre freaking y'all forgot about Dre. Never forgetting about Dre, all right? Yep. Dre Greenlaw. Like, that is a huge attitudinal piece right there, man. And I can't wait for it, because that kind of guy, man, to know he has your back in the locker room, it's going to be there. They're going to see this guy work out. Hufanga, too, for the first time. Evan Ingram, man, what do you look like in Broncos threads? I'm excited. It's a new season, man, with new players, new coaches, new staff members from top to bottom. It's exciting, man. I can't wait to see the Broncos build something special.
Yeah, and like I said early in the show, the expectations should be high. I mean, last year I felt like they overachieved, but this year there's not going to be any of that. People are expecting them to be better than they were last year, and there's a reason for that. They've gotten better. They have went out and made the moves that they needed to make to get better. They've got young players with more experience. They got a quarterback who's now in his second year, should be better. Those expectations had better be higher than they were last year, and they had better meet those expectations, because if they don't, then that's going to be on Sean Payton, or maybe it's injuries, something like that. But they've got to meet those expectations. I think they can. I think they have the pieces for it, as long as they can figure out that running game and get some production out of that running game. They're going to be a better team.
Well, and as long as they buy in, right? They need to buy into each other. It's not the coach that brings these guys together. It's the leaders of the football team, and authenticity is real. How do we know that? Because we know what fake looks like. We know what's happening in the New York locker rooms right now. All right. We know, we've been there. You don't have to worry about that with Bo Nix. You don't have to worry about that with Sean. Is there some drama sometimes between quarterback and head coach? You bet. Hell, we're going to see some dust ups between O linemen and D linemen all summer. And it's not going to mean a thing come fall. The big important part, man, is it's truly new. This season is completely just at the taking for the Denver Broncos right now, but you have to do things right. It starts with some of the less exciting things to the fan base and the media, which includes these OTAs, which are going to be pivotal for this Broncos squad. And guys, this was a really fun show. We're going to start to wrap things up. Real couple quick things on the way out. Demaryius Thomas, Ring of Fame, super excited. Can't wait for that. Week 7 against the New York Giants also ties into Alumni Weekend, as well as the MHH meet and greet. Really, really looking forward to it. Tom, looking forward to seeing you too, man. It's been a little bit. Same with Scott and all the fellas. We're going to be raising all kinds of hell in the Mile High City. Stay tuned for that. But no, Demaryius Thomas to the Ring of Fame, man. Really, really excited for that. Expectations for this team, they couldn't be higher, just because you have that in Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Fun show, Tom. I really needed it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I needed it as well. So it's been fun conversing with you and with the folks in the chat. We really appreciate all of you coming in here, spending your Wednesday night with us, talking football, throwing out those comments that we may or may not agree with, but it's all part of it. So thank you so much for being here tonight. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Boom. Head on over to MHH merch and get your swag on. Grab yourself an MHI hat for summer. Also head on over to the mothership over on X at Mile High Huddle. Also milehighhuddle.com. If you'd like to reach out to Tom on X, please do so at Thomas Hall NFL. Yours truly at Luke Patterson LP. And don't forget at Scout Kennedy as well. Tom has a very exciting project that he's been working on. We're going to be using this tool, this resource, this awesome function of technology that exists that he's been laboring on. Head on over to gridironintelligence.com. Check out what all the buzz is about as it relates to advanced analytics and NFL stats in a manner that we can all follow, use, and get behind. Tom, Scott, really appreciate you guys. Broncos Country, the OTAs. This is the way.
This is the way.